2, 1. What is happening, everyone? Cockney Red 99 here, back again with a crafty couple. And today we've got a very special, we've got the monster trio, a Kerryman, a Titman and a Clare woman. Absolutely lovely again to be joined by the Clonmel Champagne connoisseur himself, Mr. Keane Frady. Keane, how are you getting on, mate?
I'm very good now. It's a nice weekend of football coming up, Joe, on the Clonmel Champagne early. Do you know what I mean? Getting started, because I know it'll be a reasonable time to be on it tomorrow. Do a half 12 kick-off for us tomorrow. So, Joe, start as you mean to go on, I suppose.
That's the way forward, man. That is the way forward. First female guest on my channel, actually, as well. So big moment. Amy McNamara from Clare, a Clare woman herself. Amy, how you getting on?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no bother. On the Miller tonight. Look, in honor of the US election, of course. That was just she had that thought out. She thought Biden's winning tonight. That's why I'll get on the Miller. Right, we're gonna go through the Premier League fixtures this weekend. We've already had a game, which is mental to have a game that early on a Friday. Didn't miss out on much, to be honest. Wasn't expecting much out of it. Brighton versus Burnley. It's finished 0-0. Do we have anything to say about it? I don't particularly. Keane, mate, anything?
Well, I was in Tesco actually doing my shopping during the game, but I was getting updates in the weekly armchair group chat, and dismal. That's all I told was dismal. It's like if you took time out of your day to watch that game, you'd
be disappointed. It's 2 hours you're not getting back.
Yes.
When you're watching 0-0 and it's not entertaining, it's 2 hours you're not getting back. Amy, anything to add on it, or are you the same as us?
Yeah, no, I both are playing poor enough anyway, so I wasn't really expecting much out of it. I didn't see it myself either now, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was a queue of people. I mean, they were charging 15 quid to watch it. You must feel let down.
That wasn't on pay-per-view, was it?
Yeah, that was pay-per-view. Imagine if you paid £15 to watch Brighton versus Burnley. It's finished 0-0. You must be devastated. That 15 quid could have bought you a lovely case of Corona and a nice sandwich in Tesco, but you've spent it, and it's in the pocket of Rupert Murdoch now. And it's a sad reality of the world we live in. Next game, it'll be on by the time we finish this podcast. Southampton versus Newcastle. It's quite a tasty game, to be honest. I think Southampton, quite a good side. Danny Ings obviously out injured, which is a massive blow to them. He was massive for them last season. Hasenhüttl has got him playing well though. James Ward-Prowse has looked very good. Great, free kick masterclass. That's what he is, that boy. Newcastle as well. The likes of St. Maximan, Callum Wilson, John Joe Shelby when he decides occasionally. They're a good side. So, Amy, what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, Southampton are obviously playing very well at the moment. They're off like 4 wins and a draw in the last 5.
Yeah.
Newcastle then are off a win against Everton. Obviously, Southampton are missing Ings, but obviously Ward-Prowse and all that is there. So I'd say it'll be a good battle there anyway.
Kane, along the same lines, or what are you thinking? Do you think it'll be a tough out match, or is one of them going to run away with it?
I think it's going to be a close enough contested game, because you obviously have two teams here. Like, there's contrast in styles. Like, you obviously have Southampton under Hasenhüttl, who does play a very open, expansive game. They're very good players. Obviously, Danny Ings out for 4 to 6 weeks now. It's a massive loss for him. But I think Newcastle, funnily enough, I think will have the upper hand coming into this game. I think beating a team like Everton, who are on such great form over the coming season, and they do have St. Maximin, Callum Wilson, Almiron, like the players like that who can cause problems. I think on the counter attack, I think they can be very dangerous against Southampton, who sometimes are prone to defensive errors. So I think it's a good game. I think I'm bigging up Newcastle, but maybe Steve Bruce will throw out one of them disaster classes again. Like, you never know.
A Steve Bruce special, that's what we'll call it. A Steve Bruce disaster class. I mean, he does seem to throw him in every once in a while. But Newcastle have been playing quite well. But I do think so. I don't know. I feel like if you've got Ings in there, I'm going for Southampton straight away. But missing Ings, that could be massive. But Che Adams, it's a chance for him to really put up his socks and make himself known as a proper Premier League striker. So who knows? Maybe he could be the man to carry them through the rest of the season. But yeah, as it's at Southampton, I'm going to go for a Southampton win. Now moving on to Saturday, the game the three of us care about the most, the 12:30 kickoff on BT. It's going to be a big one. Everton away. Could it potentially be Ollie's last game in charge of Manchester United? It's a big, it's a big talked about topic. Pochettino's apparently been approached. Ancelotti, could he do it? That's where David Moyes lost his job. Could it be where Ollie loses his job? Keane, what are you thinking?
For me, honestly, I don't want to see him go out the way he is going to go out, but we don't get 3 points here. Anything less than 3 points, he has to go. You put this into perspective, we're on such a poor run of form at the moment, and in recent years at Goodison Park, we don't have a great record anyway. Yeah. And now that the record, he's under so much more pressure as he already would have been under at going to Goodison anyway. You put into perspective as well the qualities of this Everton team who showed since the start of the season what they are going forward. We have vulnerabilities at the back, which I think Everton, with the style of play they have, can really expose. And we've seen against Istanbul the other night, there's just the absolute shit show of our back four. And it's not going to improve over a couple of days. Let's face it, this is the same back four we've been dealing with all season. I think with Ollie, look, I love the man. Regardless of what happens this weekend, I just need to make this very, very clear to all the people who come at me on Twitter and social media recently with regards to my thoughts on whether he should go or not. If Ollie goes this weekend, this does not tarnish his legacy as a Manchester United player. Let's get that right. In terms of his club legend status, this doesn't tarnish any of that. But in terms of management, he's not good enough to be a Manchester United manager. I think this has proved that. I know we're not at home, but one thing I'd like to point out, we haven't won a home game since Independence Day, since the 4th of July. Do you know what I mean? We haven't won a home game since the 4th of July. So
Bournemouth, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So when you put that into perspective, we're at the 6th of November now. It'll be the 7th of November tomorrow. When you put that into perspective, if that was Jose Mourinho, we'd be lambasting him. If that was David Moyes, we'd be going mad. If that was Louis van Gaal, look, at the end of the day, we have to hold all our managers to the same standard just because one's a club legend, and look, we all have that bit of, I suppose we're all sentimental in that way. But for me, I think if he doesn't get 3 points, he has to go. We're coming to an international break. It'd be an ideal time to make a change. Pochettino's there, he's available, and to be fair, I think he's probably the only manager out there at the moment who can maybe bring this team on a level, because let's face it, there's quality players at this club, but there's a lack of system, there's a lack of, I suppose, vision at this club. I think Maurizio Pochettino is the man to maybe get more out of these players, because there is a lot of quality there. I don't think Ollie or McKenna or Carrick or Mike Phelan are getting enough out of the players. But you see, it's Maurizio Pochettino, he can do that.
Yeah, I see your point. I've been saying that I think he probably should go if we do lose to Everton. But I think James Cooper was saying today that the club would come out. I don't know if the club came out directly or if it was leaked or something, that Ollie is part of their future plans, and there's no.
They said that about Mourinho as well, though.
Look, you got to take everything they say with a pinch of salt, but I just don't see them go. I just don't see them getting rid of him, because I just can't see it. I think he's too easy for them to manipulate. I think they just have. And they also, in terms of keeping the fan base at bay, Ollie does that. Because you see, I seen it firsthand when we were on Mourinho and under Van Gaal. When it weren't going good, it was toxic at that ground.
Yeah.
It was absolutely toxic. Whereas, even like when we go on a bad run now, we win a game or a couple of games, it still does relieve the pressure quite a bit. When you win the odd one under Mourinho or under Van Gaal, it didn't relieve it. It was still fucking toxic. That was the only way to describe it, and it will just. I just think that they don't have the bottle to do it, and I think they just realise that it's too good of an option for them to let go of. I just can't see them getting rid of him. I just can't see it. Amy, what are you thinking? Oh, sorry, Keane, make your point.
One thing I would say just before you go to Amy on that is United have said this week they have Ollie's back, but why are they behind his back with him? That's what they do. This is what this board does. They stab every single manager in the back. We say they won't do it after Poch.
They stabbed him in the back in the summer. He had 3 or 4 main targets. Haaland was his man that he wanted in January. They could have bought him at a snip. They didn't do it. He's not been backed as a manager, and that's where we feel sorry for him. But he's got more than enough at his disposal to do a decent job and not be 15th in the league. So, we have to be like that. Amy, we've talked a lot about the manager here. On the actual game, our opponents, Everton, what are you thinking about them? They're a tough side. James Rodriguez, it's not confirmed whether he's in or out. It's sort of 50-50 at the moment. What are you thinking about them? Are you worried about them? Do you think they can do a job on us?
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about Everton now, to be honest. Obviously, they're a great manager in Ancelotti, but I think their last couple of games haven't been performing well either, and I think they're going to take advantage of United in our form at the moment. Especially if James is back. Yeah, I just think they might be a bit of an issue for us. Yeah.
I mean, if James is in that midfield, especially like you were saying about the Istanbul lads tearing us apart. I mean, imagine what Calvert-Lewin's going to do to us if Demba Ba could make
Imagine Calvert-Lewin looking at Harry Maguire the other night. Imagine Calvert-Lewin. He's sitting there. He's
licking his lips. He's absolutely he's ecstatic thinking about facing up against Maguire and Lindelof, man. Ecstatic, I'd say he is. So what are we predicting anyway in terms of a result? Amy, I'll come to you first. What are you thinking?
I said this last night. I reckon it's going to be tight enough. I think there's going to be goals either end. I'm going to go with 2-2.
Fair enough. Bit positive. Keane?
Do you want me to go with my head or go with my heart?
You can say both, mate. I don't give a shit.
My head is telling me 2-1 Everton. My head is telling me that, but my heart is saying that when his job is under threat, he always seems to grind out a win. When there's always a report that he's going to get sacked, it always happens. Like he always seems to nick a result when he's under the pressure the most. So my heart is saying a 2-1 United win, and Bruno Fernandes drags him through it. Bruno just drags him out of the mud like he did when he came in. But my head is telling me Everton are ever going to have too much of us tomorrow. But I don't want that to be the case. I do want us to go out and win, but that's how I feel at the moment.
You're not predicting another Bruno Fernandes penalty as you always do.
Yeah, that's That's there, but that goes without saying at this stage.
The trademark key for any the Bruno Fernandes penalty. For me, I'm weirdly. I said it last night on Adam's show that I reckon it would be 2-1, but I'm actually weirdly positive now because I know for a fact that it's Jordan Pickford in goal, and Bruno likes to have shots from just everywhere, really and truly. So I am going to say we're going to pull off an absolute shocker, and we're going to win 3-0 or 3-1. Fuck it, I'm going for it, man.
You may as well. Someone has
I don't know what it is. I think that Pickford thing is sticking in my mind. Maybe a little bit too much.
What do you have today?
That is only my second Corona. I don't know. I've just had a good day. I'm very weirdly positive, so I'm just overly optimistic, and I just think, as you said earlier, whenever Ollie's job is on the line, he pulls it out of his arse, mate. He's always done it. He's always done it. And I don't think it will be any different. And I think we're going to pull off an absolute shock tomorrow. Absolute shock. And we're going to do it. Honestly, I think it'll be. I think Bruno will get a brace and Greenwood's getting one.
Oh, one of them has to be a penalty, though.
Oh yeah, one is a penalty. One's always a penalty. We're penalty FC, mate. That's just what we are. But I honestly think 3-0 or 3-1. No, it is 3-1. Our defence is more open than a few other things that I've said in previous podcasts. Because I'm trying to clean up my language for a little bit. But moving on, we could talk about United all day, but we'll move on to the next game. Palace versus Leeds. Quite a good game, I think. Palace and Leeds have both looked quite good this season. Bielsa, doing wonders at Leeds. They've obviously had the odd bad result, especially with especially last week against Leicester. But they are a good side. They are an attacking side, and Palace have done well under Hodgson this season, especially where they started out. They beat us at Old Trafford. What are you thinking about this one, Keane?
Well, this is a game where two teams are on, they're both kind of flying at the moment. Like Palace started getting decent results this season, came to Old Trafford and they counter-attacking masterclass almost. And when you have a team like Leeds, who play so much on the front foot, they're very possession-based. They do play very good football. There's a lot of intricate passing in there. So it's a very good game of football. It just depends. For me, it goes down to which manager is kind of on top tactically on the day and who gets their tactics right. Because And like Hodgson, you have someone who can be very defensively minded and be defensively still hit you with the pace, like likes of Ayew, Jeffrey Schlupp, Wilfred Zaha. Like there's plenty of players there who can cause Leeds problems at the back, same way Leicester did the other night. But then you look at the other hand, like Leeds, Bamford's on form. He looks like a Premier League striker. Like, do you know what I mean? Who thought that when he came into the Premier League? Like we were all saying, look, yeah, he's shit. But look, he'll come to Ireland.
He's definitely not choosing Ireland now, is he? He definitely thinks he's getting a call from Southgate.
And you have obviously players like the likes of Rodrigo as well, like coming over from Valencia, another good player, that came into them. And then obviously like they've all their young players as well. Like Bielsa is a man who's very he plays attractive football. And someone talked about on my podcast the other day. They threw it down left field as like if Ollie gets sacked, would you look at someone like Marcel Bielsa? And I was like, no, he comes from Leeds because they're coming from a rival. But I can understand his thinking because of like his approach to football, but I can never take a Leeds United manager at Man United, no way. Same way I wouldn't take Klopp now because he's Liverpool man.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, but I feel like Bielsa's got a lot of praise, but everyone has a lot of reservations about Pochettino in terms of what he's won. Obviously, Bielsa has had success in the game, but if you look at recent track records in terms of his time at Lille and stuff like that, he's not. Obviously he's had success with Leeds, but that is in the Championship, and would he do a job at United potentially with that squad that we have? If you look at how open Leeds' defence is, imagine what our defence would be like with him. Yeah, we'd probably be great going forward in terms of Martial, Greenwood, Bruno. That'd be brilliant.
We score 4, you score 3 type of thing, like. Yeah,
I mean it'd be exciting to watch, man, but it's not going to win us titles, and that's what we want to be. So I wouldn't be looking at Bielsa as a.
You're watching champagne football with Clonmel Champagne on a Saturday night. That's what I'd be like.
Mate, Clonmel Champagne. I stay away from it. It's diabetes in a bottle. That's what that stuff is. Amy, what are you thinking about this game?
Yeah, I reckon the same. I reckon it'll be quite tight as well. Leeds just off a big defeat to Leicester, so Leeds are always set up well, and Crystal Palace are good on the counter, so I reckon that one will also be very tight.
Yeah, I reckon Leeds will edge it out in the end, but Palace will definitely put up a good show. It's at Selhurst Park as well. I mean, like the no fans thing, obviously we keep saying it is devastating, but I have been to Palace as an away ground, and their fans are genuinely some of the best home support I've honestly seen for our Premier League.
Even watching Selhurst Park on the telly, yeah. I remember the night we bet in 3-2 when Matic scored the winner.
Mate!
When Palace were winning that game, they were bouncing. And then when we got that winner, it was unbelievable. But one other time I'll talk about Crystal Palace's stadium is May 2014, Istanbul. I've never seen such great atmosphere and such great scenes in that stadium when Liverpool were 3-0 up, and Crystal Palace basically ended their title hopes, and we got to see a lot of Luis Suarez tears. That was just a beautiful sight.
I mean, I also hate the Scousers, but even if they had have won that game, they would have lost the league on goal difference anyway. So Istanbul is actually a myth. As much as I do hate the Scousers, it was brilliant to see Suarez crying, but I don't know why he was crying. They wouldn't have won it anyway. Moving on from Crystal Palace, from the beauty of South London, we moved to the beauty of West London in Chelsea. Chelsea playing Sheffield United, who've had a rotten start to the season. Our man David McGoldrick this week retiring from international football, which I didn't really understand at all, to be honest. They've looked terrible. They just haven't looked them. They're doing what everyone expected them to do last season, is what I would say. They've just had an absolute stinker to the start of the season. And personally, I'm gutted because they've obviously got a lot of Irish lads in there. John Egan, my man from Kerry as well, absolute legend of a man. They just haven't got off to a good start, and going to Chelsea doesn't get any easier for them. Like, Amy, what are you thinking about this one?
Basically the same. Sheffield United obviously have had a very poor start to the season. And obviously Chelsea's well coming in, who were also a bit inconsistent as well, considering they absolutely bottled it against Southampton. But I reckon Chelsea shouldn't have any problems anyway with the forwards, with their likes of Havertz and Ziyech and Pulisic, and obviously Werner up front, and then you have Giroud coming off the bench as well. So I don't think they'll have any issues there.
Havertz is COVID-19 positive, so
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
He'll be tucked up in bed eating a schnitzel for himself. Keane, what are you thinking about it?
Well, look, the first thing I'd like to say about Sheffield United is that I think last season the lockdown was probably the worst thing to ever happen to that club, because they were flying before that lockdown. They were unbelievable. And people were talking about potentially challenging Champions League because they were only like a couple of points off. And then like the lockdown obviously happened. They were gone for an age of 2 months away from football, and it kind of killed all the momentum that they had last season. And obviously they came to Old Trafford and just got absolutely peppered by United, and that was kind of the start of the downturn in their results. Now obviously this season is a classic case of second season syndrome. Do you know what I mean? That's effectively what they have now. And I see them going down this season, as much as I hate to say it, because they have a lot of Irish players, as you pointed out. Like, they do have a lot of players there who, for us, it'd be great to see them stay in the Premier League, because again, the more top Irish players who are playing in the Premier League, the more it's going to benefit us from an international perspective.
Doesn't seem to benefit us at the moment because we can't beat Slovakia, but
that's another story for another day. But
story for another day.
Looking ahead to this game, look, Chelsea are obviously on the up. They're after picking up a few positive results recently. Now, obviously, look, Kai Havertz, Joe, has caught COVID-19. Look, we hope he gets well soon. It's not a nice thing to have. But I suppose they won't be crying too much over it now, because Hakim Ziyech is finally back in the squad. He's finally recovered from injury, and he's shown in his recent games he adds quality to that team. So I suppose what that goes to show is how efficient Chelsea were in the transfer window. In fact, one player drops out, they have a like-for-like replacement coming in with just as much quality as him. It shows efficiency. In terms of the game tomorrow, I think Chelsea have too much for him. I think Chelsea win 4-0.
Chelsea win 4-0. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, because I honestly hate Chelsea. And seeing them do well. Sorry, beer burp there. Seeing them do well does not. I just hate it. So I want to say something deluded and say that Sheffield are going to get a draw, but it's just not going to happen. To be honest, though,
you wouldn't know what Chelsea's defence.
Yeah, but Thiago Silva is just, after that one bad game he had against West Brom, where Callum Robinson had the game of his life, which I've never seen him do in a green shirt. He's just turned it on differently. He's been unreal at the back for them. So I just can't see it. I see what you were saying. I'm gonna say 3-1 Chelsea. But saying that Sheffield did in the lockdown league, that was one of their only good games, was against Chelsea. They beat Chelsea 3-0. So and that was the time McGoldrick got a brace. Like, I don't know, they can put a performance out, but they haven't done so far this season. So I'm gonna say 3-1 Chelsea. Then the last game of the Saturday, the 8 o'clock kickoff, is West Ham versus Fulham. Fulham got their first 3 points last week. They look, could they, out of the relegation zone for the first time? Big positive for them. Do you think they'll get another result here this week, Amy, or do you think Mikel Antonio is going to absolutely bully Michael Hector?
Yeah, look, I think West Ham might get off on the front foot here, but Antonio's still injured. No, I thought he was. Yeah.
I don't pay much attention to West Ham. I tried to get my West Ham mate on tonight. He weren't available.
Well, obviously, West Ham now in the last couple of games, obviously they've given City, Spurs, and Liverpool a good run for their money. So, Fulham have obviously been poor. They've only 1 win in 5. So I think West Ham might have a bit of an edge here.
Yeah, I mean, West Ham have looked like a good side. They have got a good bunch of players. Like Jarrod Bowen, I've been really impressed with him. Haller, if he can find the form he had at Frankfurt again, he'll be a top player for him. Keane, what are you thinking, mate?
I know West Ham are going to win this game, but I just don't like West Ham. I don't like West Ham. I don't like their owners. I don't like that Karen Brady one, and I don't.
Yeah, but neither do any of their fans, man. That's.
Yeah, but the thing about this is they're just rotten to the core. Do you know what I mean? And it's not that I don't like the club. I just don't like them, and just for that reason, I hope West Ham go down with that Olympic Stadium, because that'd just be hilarious. But in saying that though, West Ham they would win this game, I think, quite easily. I think West Ham will win 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite impressed with Fulham's business, to be honest, towards the end of the transfer window, bringing in Ademola Lookman Loftus-Cheek. They're great attacking options. They could. It would be a very West Ham thing to cock it up against Fulham. That's how I feel. I feel like West Ham cocking it up would be like their sort of thing to do. I can see what you're saying. I think West Ham will overpower them. I think it'll probably be 3-1 West Ham, but I do think Fulham have a bit of a chance in this game. Just literally because I don't trust West Ham's mentality. I think they just have always got the capability to make a massive cock up of a great opportunity. Moving on to Sunday, the 12 o'clock kickoff. Very early for a Sunday, and it's on the box office as well for your 15 quid. West Brom versus Tottenham at the Hawthorns. Jose Mourinho, can he keep doing it? He got a good result last night against Ludogorets, doing well in the Europa League. Would he prioritise that over the Premier League? He seems to think he has a fighting chance of winning the Premier League this season, and why wouldn't he? Kane and Son seem to be flying, and that partnership seems to be blossoming beautifully. Keane, what do you think of this one, mate?
Tough game going to the Hawthorns. Fans are not like West Brom have proved this season that they can be a tricky customer for certain teams. And I think, look, Spurs come back from the Europa League. Will they have a hangover from playing the Europa League? Time will tell. I've kind of gone with all the favourites this week. I've kind of haven't in so far, like on the show, I've gone for all the favourites. For now, just for our esteemed colleague Rowan Steve McGrath and Jamie Mackie Murphy, for the two lads, I'm going to go for a 2-1 West Brom win. And a lovely VAR awarded penalty that they'll cry about, and West Brom win.
West Brom win, and obviously Callum Robinson's tucking that one away.
Oh, he's tucking that one. Bruno doesn't play for them, so he can't take that penalty.
I mean, he probably could if he wanted to. Let's be honest, Bruno does what he wants. As I seen on a T-shirt the other day, until Bruno was never happy. Amy, what are you thinking?
No, I think Spurs might take this one.
Handy win
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, obviously West Brom are yet to get a win this season, so could this be the one? But no, I reckon with Son and Kane, obviously you've Gareth Bale in there now, so I think Spurs will take this. Whether it's big or just about.
No, personally, to be honest, I think Spurs will. I think Bale getting that goal for himself is going to do him the world of good in terms of confidence. Going forward, they look very good. But in terms of what you said, Keane, about the European hangover, I do remember the season where we won the Europa League with Jose. Whenever we did play on Thursday, we played absolutely shy on the Sunday. We got a couple of results, but I just do remember us always playing particularly bad after a Europa League game, and that's just always the way it is. It seems to be from a Thursday, Sunday fixture point of view, it just seems to knock the stuffing out of the team, especially having to travel far away. They're in Bulgaria as well. It's a tough ask to come back, and then 3 days later play another fixture. That's enough about Tottenham anyway. And it's Leicester Wolves in the next fixture, 2 o'clock. An exciting game, two very exciting teams. Brendan Rodgers and Nuno Espirito Santo doing fantastic jobs there in the Midlands. And both of them looking like they potentially be, Leicester already in Europe, but both of them looking like possible Champions League contenders this season. The league is that wide open at the moment. Amy, how do you see this one shaping up? Do you see Leicester turning them over possibly, or a very tight affair, or what are you thinking?
I think, both of them are playing quite well this season, so I think quite possibly could be tight now. Obviously, Leicester are just off a big win there against Leeds, and obviously then with Wolves, then you've Neves and Moutinho in there, and they're pretty good at breaking down teams and that, so I reckon it could be quite tight.
I mean, if Leicester win, they go top. It's as simple as that. I mean, they're absolutely flying at the start of the season, and Wolves as well. I mean, they're in the top 6 at the moment, and I think they're trying to solidify that as a top 6 club in England. Keane, what are you thinking? Is Jamie Vardy going to be having a party for himself on Sunday?
I think Jamie Vardy is going to be drinking a load of Red Bull before the game, like he usually does. He'll be buzzing. And then
smashing the WKD straight afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Hitting the green diesels with that then later on. But
love a green diesel, man.
Oh, stop. It'd be unreal now. But in terms of the game, because I know I can't go to the pub and get a green diesel now, so that's how to kill him my weekend. But with regards to this, I think it's going to be a very good game of football. Two very good teams, and again, as you said, two teams who maybe potentially challenge Champions League because they're two very solid teams. I think with Leicester, they're flying at the moment. Brendan Rodgers has done a great job, but one thing I would say is Wolves are very good defensively, and they play kind of back three / back five. I think one thing they might do is leave Leicester have the ball, try breaking down, try to let Leicester to play between the lines because that's not one of their strengths. Leicester are a very good counter-attacking team under Rodgers, and they kind of like to hit teams in the break with Vardy. So it'd be interesting to see kind of how Leicester approach that. If let's say Wolves sit with a low block, it'd be interesting to see. In terms of my score prediction for the game, I'm gonna go 2-2. I'm gonna go 2-2. I'm gonna go with Raul Jimenez to get the two of Wolves goals because I have him up front of fantasy football, so I hope that kind of materialises. And I'm going to go with Vardy and Yuri Tielemans to score for Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of goal scoring, I'm hoping that Raul Jimenez does it as well because I swapped him out for Ings this week in my own fantasy team. I reckon you're not far off that. I think it'll be a very exciting game. But I'm gonna go for an exciting. I'm gonna say 3-2 Leicester. I just think Leicester will have the edge. I think it'll be a massively exciting game. It'll be a great watch. Be a great advert for the Premier League. I think certain games, it's just games like that you look at and you just think, in terms of an advert for the Premier League, it will definitely be up there. And I reckon it'll be 3-2 Leicester. I think it'll be one of the games of the season. Then we're moving on to probably the biggest fixture of the weekend. Title decider is what it's being advertised as. City Liverpool at Wastelands, aka the Empty Ad. It has to be empty now, doesn't it? And
hey, they're practicing social distancing since 2008.
Mate, they've been practicing it a lot longer than that. Got no fans, but we move on and looking at the fixture, it's an exciting one. Diogo Jota, since signing from Wolves, he's been flying it. Every game, everything he seems to touch turns to a goal, and likely to be starting ahead of Roberto Firmino. Who, I've got a mate who's a Liverpool fan. He's told me he plays about 75 different roles and he does this, he does that. I mean, obviously I'm not meticulously watching Liverpool every week, so maybe I don't see what he sees. But Jota's playing in that system. They're playing well and he's scoring. So has Firmino been exposed? Will he be dropped? What do you think, Keane?
I think Firmino has been exposed the last 12 months. Like his goal scoring record is so poor. And the people talk about he's the best defensive striker in the league or the world or whatever. You can talk about that. But at the end of the day, as a striker, your number one priority is to score goals and create chances for your team. Mm-hmm. And Roberto Firmino has been very inept in that area of the pitch in the last 12 months. Like if Salah and Mane weren't firing on all cylinders 24/7, we would be talking about Roberto Firmino a lot more. It's just the fact now Diogo Jota has managed to come in. He's starting to score goals. Now all of a sudden everyone's talking about why is Firmino playing? Do you know what I mean? In terms of this game though, Owen, one thing I will say, this is Liverpool's first proper test since the injury of Virgil van Dijk. Do you know what I mean? This is the first proper top team they're going to be playing against. Now obviously this is a Manchester City team who are playing very inconsistent at the moment as well. Like, let's face it, both teams haven't hit top form yet.
City were very inconsistent last season. I think City are just an inconsistent. Well, obviously, in the last year or so, they've just been an inconsistent side.
Yeah, they've been inconsistent. But the one thing I would say is obviously, is Fabinho fit? Is he going to play the weekend?
I'm honestly not 100% sure on that. It said he was injured for a while, but I mean, they said Alisson wasn't going to be fit till January, and then all of a sudden
he played in the Champions League, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, what painkillers they pumped him full of because they looked at Adrian and thought, "Fuck that."
Well, as I said in the last show last week, they have a lot of asthmatics at the club, so whatever kind of medication they're giving them, I don't know.
I mean, it baffled me when Palace signed Jack Butland, because I was looking at that and Liverpool thinking, just like, why don't you go and sign Jack Butland as your number two?
Quality goalkeeper.
Quality goalkeeper. He'd be happy to be number two at Liverpool as opposed to number two at Stoke, which he was at the time. So I think he's a great goalkeeper, and I think he would have done a job for them. It baffled me as to why they didn't sign him. But luckily for them, Alisson has come back fit and firing. But I mean, without Van Dijk, they are going to struggle massively. And Fabinho as well. Fabinho has done a job for them at centre half, but the young lads that they brought in there have done quite well.
Williams has done well. He's done well there last weekend. But like if Fabinho's fit, you're starting Fabinho and Joe Gomez back there. You're not starting Williams against Sergio Aguero, Raheem Sterling, Riyad Mahrez. You're not playing. You're not going to give him that baptism of fire. I don't think Jurgen Klopp would do that. But then again, I'm contradicting myself now because he did do that with Trent Alexander-Arnold. He gave him his debut at Old Trafford. So, like, look, he could try.
Yeah, look what happened to him. He got turned inside out. Yeah.
Yeah, like, look, you never know. Like, he could try to give him that baptism of fire. In terms of score prediction, Owen, though, I hate to see both teams win, but I'm always happier when the Scousers lose because social media is beautiful after they lose. So I'm going to go with a 3-1 Manchester City win, and that gets on the score sheet for Liverpool.
Social media is fairly quiet when City win because they don't have many fans.
Exactly.
But Amy, what are you thinking? Do you think the Scousers will do something, or do you think those blue bastards will get 3 points?
Yeah, I don't know. I think this one's gonna be quite tight. Yeah, like I was looking back there a while ago, and both of them only scrapped the win there against Sheffield United and West Ham. So both of them are quite inconsistent, especially Liverpool there since Van Dijk got injured. Rest in peace. But
R.I.P. Our captain.
R.I.P.
Oh my fucking god, Jesus Christ! You'd have thought the man got run over by a bus. Oh.
It's the first ever player to get injury in the history of football. Like.
Oh, definitely, yeah. No one ever broke their ACL before.
Toxic. But obviously as well with City, like they've good players coming off the bench. Obviously we've seen Phil Foden come off the bench there recently. He's been unbelievable, and it's the same there with Jota. So I reckon it could be quite tight. I say we could see a couple of goals in there as well. Yeah,
I think it'll be a tight one. But what score are you going for, Amy?
I might go 3-2 City.
3-2. I think that's a bit of an exciting one. I'm not prepared for it. Too of an exciting one because I always get hyped up for these big games, but they always tend to let you down drastically. So I think it's going to be a tight one. But I think City are going to win. I think City 1-0. I think that's what I'm going to go for.
See, City need to win this one. They're 10th. Like they need to win this one.
See, this is the thing. The league is so confusing to look at now. Like I just forget where I didn't even know City were 10. But if you look at it like that, though, as well, us and City are a game behind. So City win their game in hand, they go 4th. We don't go into the top 10, but
we're 4 points off City at the moment, and we both have a game in hand. So, like we win our game in hand, we go lovely.
We win our game in hand, we go 12th.
Yeah, that's
lovely, isn't it? That's just what we want to see at the core point of the season. It's just what you want to see, mate.
You look at our record at this season at the moment, like 2 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses.
Keen, mate, I'm having a good day. Let's just not fucking ruin it. Let's just try and forget about it and beat the Blue Half of Liverpool on tomorrow at 12:30. Moving on to our last game of the weekend, though, it's Arsenal versus Villa. Villa, obviously, that mental game against Liverpool, the 7-2 victory. Haven't looked amazing afterwards, to be honest. Look like they're having a massive dip now. They did only lose 4-3 to Southampton, but they did get 2 late goals. Possibly flattering the scoreline, some might say. And they just seem to be having a bit of a dip in form. And I don't think they'll struggle to stay up. But I don't think they're going to maintain the form that they had at the start of the season. Amy, what are you thinking about this game? Do you think it's going to be a walkover for Arsenal, or do you think Villa will pull off another shot like they did against Liverpool?
I think Villa will win this one. I just think
is that Arsenal, the Emirates as well?
Yeah, I just think Arsenal played us last week. I didn't think they were great. They didn't threaten our defence or De Gea at all in that second half. They're quite inconsistent, but like Villa as well had that nearly come back against fucking Southampton. Watkins has 4 goals this season, so I don't know.
3 of them were against Liverpool.
Could see. Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
People
like to point their bros out and they're like,
I hope Villa win it anyway.
I hope Villa win it, but I mean, it's head and heart situation there, already, isn't it? So, what are you going for score then? Are you going to go? You're going to go 7.
Villa.
Oh no, 7-2 this time for Villa, no.
No.
2-1 Villa, with the traitor that is Jack Grealish probably scoring a free kick. Keane, what are you thinking?
I'm actually going to go in the same direction as Amy on this one. I'm actually going to go with Aston Villa win. I think Arsenal. The one thing I'll always say about these dickheads is that they always like get on.
Don't say that. Claude's your best mate now, man. What are you on about? Claude.
I'm talking about their players, not their fans. Like, let's get this right.
Sorry, Arsenal friend. No.
No, but I'm saying it's about their players. One thing I'll just point out here: anytime they get a big team, they beat a big team, like either in the Emirates or they didn't do it.
Well, they hadn't done it for about 4 years until they beat us. So like, it's not.
But anytime they got a big result in any kind of game, they'd always lose the next one. There's always 1 step forward, 2 steps back with Arsenal, and this is going to be the same scenario. They're after getting a win against United. They all think now all's rosy in the garden, though Arteta is the man to win in the league or whatever. They're going to get a big smack of reality this week that they're Arsenal, they're Banter FC at the end of the day. They're still Banter FC at the end of the day. Jack Grealish is going to turn up wearing the smallest shin guards known to man. He's going to pull off a masterclass. Ross Barkley is going to have a fantastic game. John McGinn. And I'm going to go with a 2-1 Aston Villa win, and with Grealish scoring the winner.
2-1 Villa win. I'm not as confident as the two of you with Villa. I don't know. I just think they've been since that Liverpool. Well, they did get a win afterwards, but that loss to Leeds and the loss to Southampton. I don't know. I just can see a big dip from them now. But I don't think they're going to get a win, but I do think they'll get a draw. I'm not going to go for Grealish just because I just don't want to see him do well. I don't know. That's harsh. He just upsets me as a human being. So I'm going to go for a 1-1, and I think it's going to be something proper scrappy, like a Tyrone Mings, just a ball bouncing around the area, and Tyrone Mings or another centre half or something just knocks it in and 1-1, and Arsenal going to melt down on Twitter, and Arteta is no longer Pep Guardiola with the toupee. And yeah, I see Villa getting something out of it, but I just can't see him getting the win. That's it for the fixtures now. As I always like to do at the end of the show, just a bit of a random question. Favourite ground you've ever been to? It can be aesthetically, it can be because of the atmosphere, because of the game you've seen there. Doesn't matter. Favourite ground you've ever been to? Amy, you first.
I haven't been to an away game, so the only ground I have been to is Old Trafford. But
what, have you not been? Surely you've been. Have you not been to any grounds in Ireland? No?
Well, I don't really support League of Ireland much, to be honest.
Not League of Ireland. GA, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the sport.
Well, yeah, Croke Park, Croke Park,
Croke Park, all right. Fair enough.
Turles even, but
Turles.
Up tip. For me, I think my favourite ground obviously is Old Trafford, right? But look, that's a foregone conclusion. But one of the other favourite grounds I love visiting, funnily enough, was Derby away. I thought that was a great crack. There was a great atmosphere there. It was hopping. Do you know what I mean? And
was that the FA Cup?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of years ago under Van Gaal.
Yeah.
I was there, and great ground. They're a decent fan base as well. Do you know what I mean? They're not like other clubs. There was a good stadium. There was good result for us as well, and it was one of the favourite grounds to go to. In saying that though, in terms of GAA in Ireland though, Semple Stadium for me, like when Tip are playing in the Munster Championship, like when it's fully packed, nothing better like on a Sunday. Do you know what I mean? After a few drinks, like it's
I was at that Clare Cork Munster final there like 3 years ago. Fucking awful.
You don't go on about your Semple Stadium. Nothing compares to Fitzgerald Stadium, Kerry Cork, Munster final day. The whole town in Killarney's absolutely hopping. There's beer flowing down the hill down the high street. It's nothing compares to that in terms of GAA. But in terms of the best ground I went to America, and I went to American football game in Atlanta. in that Mercedes-Benz. Have you seen the other one that's got the screen all the whole way around it? Mate, Americans know how to do stadiums differently. It was just the most mental thing I've ever seen in my life. It was like a shopping mall within the stadium, and it was just crazy, man. It was mental. They had any kind of a food you could have thought of. They had it. They just had it. It's a mental. The design of it was absolutely beautiful as well.
Aiden said in the comments, Lewis Road.
Kerry to smash Cork. Oh, obviously. That's obviously. Lewis Road. Where's Lewis Road? I
haven't a clue. That's why I was asking.
Right, just gonna have to give it a Google.
I was in Stadio Olimpico last year. Roma and Gladbach in the Europa League. It's average enough, like, but it's grand.
Hang on, sorry. You just said to me, sorry, you never went to another ground. I think you just got. I went to the Stadio Olimpico, one of the most famous football grounds that ever was. Come on, man. We got. What's going on here? Lewis Road. Oh, I mean, if Aidan, mate, if you're still watching, if you could just pop in with where Lewis Road is.
A shout out to the lads in Clonmel as well. Clonmel Celtic.
It's the road down from Fitzgerald's there, mate. I don't know. I don't look at the road signs. When I'm in Killarney at a month's the final, I'm absolutely twisted. But look at that's made me look so bad now. I know that for a fact. I'm North Kerry. I'm not South Kerry, so I'm not looking around at the signs. But yeah, no, and then to contrast, going back to my point, to contrast to that Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I was at United versus Aldershot away, and you had to walk through the public park, through puddle and shit into the ground, and it was this little tiny ground, people smoking in the stand, having beers in the stand, just proper old school lower league football, just nice, just the way it should be, to be honest. Not the way it should be, but just for that level, it just is right. Sort of the sense of community and everyone just kind of enjoying a beer and chilling out with their mates. Right, we've gone on long enough now about that. Just going to finish up now with the lads' socials. Amy's, if you want to give your socials a shout out.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter on It's U18.
It's U18. One Matter did actually tweet her on her birthday as well. So, I mean, she's got to be a big deal. Keen, mate.
You can follow me at Keen_Franey on Twitter, and do go check me out on the Weekly Armchair Kickoff podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, do check it out. I'm on there a bit myself as well. It's a good show. He's got loads of guests coming on week in, week out. Please like this, share it, subscribe it, keep it going.